Charles.
I am Charles. I am God. I am Zardoz.
I am Zardoz.
Yes, as you can imagine, I am a floating head on a black screen right now.
And I am made of stone.
Dressed like I'm in a bad middle school nativity play.
Yes, it was definitely like a church pageant, how he was dressed.
Oh my god. Hey everyone, welcome to our cinematic autopsy.
Yeah, we're CL squared. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, that little intro was my little commentary on the beginning of Zardoz, which is the movie we're covering today. From John Boorman, made in 1974 and starring Sean Connery and Charlotte Rampling. Zardoz.
Zardoz!
It's so... where to even begin with this fucking movie?
I will begin by saying that this is the worst movie I have ever seen in all my 28 years of life.
Like, seriously, there is no movie you've ever seen that you think is worse.
No, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. It took me like 3 days to get through it. So I threw my empty beer bottle or beer can. It was a can. I threw it at the television. That's how bad it was.
Before we go on, what part was that during? Do you remember?
It was when she just randomly is like, "I love you now. I'm no longer going to kill you."
Yes, that was a weird one. So, all right. So the movie opens with a character named Arthur Frayne, and we know he's Arthur Frayne because he tells us he's Arthur Frayne
while breaking the fourth wall as if it's a Shakespeare production.
Yes. Oh my God! And you know that's what they were thinking. They were like, this is going to be very Shakespearean.
Yes.
He's going to tell us that it's a tale full of mystery and intrigue, rich in irony, and most satirical.
It's not funny.
Actual things said. So Arthur Frayne tells us he's God, while his head is floating in a black screen. And as I said, he is seriously dressed like he's in like a middle school nativity play or something.
But the whole thing takes place in 2293. So it's in the future, but they're dressed like they're in biblical times.
Yes. But I also should note his vagina soul patch.
He did have a vagina soul patch. Yes, he did.
Yes. So he has a weird drawn on... All of his facial hair is drawn on. Once again, like a fucking... like I said, once again, like a middle school nativity scene or something. and where his... If you look closely at his soul patch, it is not hair, it looks like a vagina. And he poses the question, is God in show business too? And thus the movie begins.
It should have just ended right there.
That was such a... It could have been the greatest movie ever. It wasn't, definitely. But it could have been the greatest movie ever, and it would lose, 5 points for that fucking intro.
Yeah, that's true. They really fucked up.
Yeah, like if you put that intro on my favorite movie, I would hate that movie.
Yeah, no doubt. It was hard for me to, keep watching past the first, 2 minutes of it.
So... We go to, as Chelsea said, the movie takes place in 2293.
Mm-hmm.
We open with, the misty Irish countryside and the important 70s epic font. Because any movie from the 70s that was supposed to be an important story had that exact font that was used at the beginning of the movie.
So original.
Yes. So, Chelsea, so why don't you explain the opening scene?
Okay. So you got a bunch of men, right? And the men are in, red, what is it called? What is it called? The cloth.
A loincloth?
A loincloth.
Honestly, I think of it more as diapers, if we're being honest.
Yeah, they do look like diapers, and they have...
Red diapers.
They have red diapers. Their period is really bad this month. And there's a bunch of people. Oh my God, I feel like I blocked out this entire movie. So, and they have, their helmets have this giant stone monster creature on it, which turns out is Zardoz. who's this giant floating head that comes down from the sky and pukes out guns.
That we have already been told is Arthur Frayne, so that there is no mystery.
No, there's no mystery at all.
Behind who the voice of Zardoz is.
No, and it's very, very, I don't know. Is it the opening sequence, because Charles had sent it to me in a YouTube clip prior to me actually watching it, and it was 3 minutes and 32 seconds of the worst 3 minutes and 32 seconds of my life.
So, you have not even done their outfits justice, though, because, like, you're not describing the bandoliers of bullets.
Oh, there's lots of bullets.
Or their like velvet hooker boots.
I do love those boots, though.
That go up to their fucking mid-thighs.
Yeah, it's really... I don't know who did wardrobe on this, but they should be fired.
and they all have, like, really long ponytails and fucking Danny Trejo mustaches.
Yeah, they all look the same.
Yeah. So, Zardoz gives them the gift of the gun.
Mm-hmm.
And tells them, the gun is good. The penis is evil. The penis shoots seeds to poison the earth with the plague of brutals. Which is never explained what exactly the fucking brutals are. I assumed it was the dudes in the red diapers, but then I hear they're killing the brutals. And the brutals just appear to be weird, like, Irish people in blazers who are dirty.
Yeah.
Like...
Yes.
So, I'm not quite sure what... But then they call Sean Connery a brutal later on in the movie.
Yeah, they call him a brutal, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, so... It's also not quite clear where all these guns are manufactured from.
No.
Because, a little bit of a spoiler, but when we meet the Eternals, I don't think the Eternals are manufacturing guns.
Definitely not.
So, where exactly are these guns coming from? Like, if they're old guns from, like, our time, wouldn't they have been used up by now?
Without a doubt. And they look like old guns.
Yeah.
But they look like they're from biblical times, so it doesn't make any sense at all. There's no continuity. Nothing makes sense.
Yeah. So, all this is happening, and we get our first shot of Sean Connery as he kills the cameraman.
Yes.
Because he does just aim it at the camera and fire. And then we go to Beethoven's Seventh Symphony, second movement, which is my favorite Beethoven piece. Chelsea can attest to the fact that I find a way to stick it into literally everything we've ever done.
That's what she said.
Well, yes, it is. Because I stuck it into everything we've ever done.
Yes.
Anyway, so, which is, I'd say, probably the only thing I enjoyed about this movie, was Beethoven's Seventh Symphony.
Yes.
And
it shows up several times, which is nice.
Yes. It plays a whole bunch of different times during the film. So we now go inside Zardoz's mouth as it floats over the countryside. And Sean Connery is in the grain. And it turns out there's lots of produce inside Zardoz. For reasons that we don't yet know, but he is inside the produce. And there are also Ziploc naked people.
Yes, I wrote it as it's like 100% COVID proof.
And so Sean Connery gets up, he's pointing his gun around, really confused, and Arthur Frayne shows up, and Sean Connery shoots him.
Naturally.
And he tells Sean Connery, you were foolish, and then does a weird Peter Pan glide out of the mouth of Zardoz. Like, he doesn't fall like how gravity actually would, if you were to fall out of a giant floating head in the sky. He just kind of, like, puts his arms in the air, like, he believes, and is gonna, like, fly to Never Neverland or something.
Yes.
So, at that point, Zardoz's head flies to its summer home in the Irish hills. Because that's really what it looked like.
It really did look. It's like, I'm going to the Hamptons. Fuck off.
Yeah. So, At this point, Sean Connery finds himself in a place with a lot of bubbles. For some reason, there's like a weird theme of plastic bubbles that crops are in and people are in.
And they don't really explain why or how.
No, there's just a whole shitload of clear plastic.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if John Boorman got like a discount on clear plastic and just told his set dressers to put it everywhere, or if somehow clear plastic is the future or something.
I don't know. Whoever was responsible for like deconstructing the set had a lot of recycling to do.
Yeah, like no, it was the 70s, 74, so it was even before they did recycling.
Oh, never mind. No recycling. All right. It's all in the ocean. You killed many turtles.
Yep.
Do you know what you did?
John Boorman's Turtle Genocide is what we should really call this film.
Yes.
That should be Zardoz, John Boorman's Turtle Genocide.
I love it. Let's make it into a musical.
Yeah. Yep. Gods, goddesses, kings, and queens. You know.
We're gonna kill the turtles.
You know, I am your friend. Anyway.
Done. Where's my Tony? I want my Tony.
Yeah. By the way, the character of Friend, I love how I actually went most of the movie not knowing his name was Friend.
Until the end.
Yeah. Like, they don't, he hangs around, he's just sleazy, they don't mention his name.
And Sean Connery's name is Zed, right?
Yes.
Zed. Because that's original. Friend and Zed.
Yeah, so, Sean Connery then finds a list that gives him a ring that gives him a grocery list.
Mm-hmm.
And he has fun with projections. And, like, then there's a topless woman on a horse. And I'm just like, what is happening now?
Yeah, I said boob lady on horse. He has his gun out.
Yeah. And then, for whatever reason, there's the character of May. When they first show her, for absolutely no reason whatsoever, they put a water filter on her. And I don't mean, like, a water filter as in the thing you put on your sink. I mean, there's a filter on her that makes it look like she's underwater, even though she's clearly walking on land. And then it cuts back to Sean Connery, who is on land, with no water filter on him. And then it cuts back to her, with the water filter on her, for no reason whatsoever. And she uses psychic powers to make him drop his gun. And then he's remembering a rape he did in the name of Zardoz.
Lots of rape.
Yeah. It's actually, there's not really lots of rape. It's just that rape over and over again.
Yes, lots of the same rape.
Yeah. Like, and the thing is, they don't ever give any deeper meaning to that particular rape. It's just one that he thinks of a lot, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So then we meet Charlotte Rampling as Consuela, who I think is May's sister or something like that.
Yeah, there's no way of knowing, really.
Yeah. So then they replay Arthur's memory. They're trying to figure out who killed Arthur, because Arthur is a baby now. Like, I will say, everything I'm saying sound like there is no logic or reason to this film. Things literally just happen.
Yes.
Like, there's never this happened, there's never connecting tissue. There's never this happened because this other thing happened. It's just, this happens, now this is going to happen, now this is going to happen. So...
There's no through line whatsoever on this film.
Yeah, exactly. So, I also notice in his memories it shows him killing the Brutals, who once again are, they look like they came from a production of Oliver Twist or something. And they all just kind of get shot and then they gently lay down.
And they're like cursed to live forever, right? Everyone there.
Yeah, like, well, we'll get to that. I'm still going over, like, that's the thing. Like, wow, this movie, like, really, you could have just taken the scenes and mashed them up in different orders, and you would pretty much get the same movie.
That is true.
Because there's, like I said, there's just no logic to this film. So Arthur Frayne is a baby now, and
I didn't even get that.
Zed is a fine, strong beast, and they're all bored psychic teenagers.
Yes.
And then Sean Connery licks friend's hand. And then there's lots of farming.
So much farming.
Lots and lots of farming. And Zed ruining paintings by like sticking his fingers in the eye hole or whatever.
And they cage him up like an animal. Is that what happens next?
Yeah, they cage him up. They take him to a silver pyramid, where one of the other bored teenagers, apparently gave someone constructive criticism, so he's being accused of psychic violence. And he's supposedly going to get punished with aging. And at this point is when I realized that we are now watching Zed's summer job. Because Zed just kind of gets dragged along by these bored teenagers, and he's totally cool with it. This guy who was murdering people before is now like, just, okay, sure, I'll move your bales of hay.
Yep.
And like, serve you, like, chocolate thingies at a dinner or whatever.
Yeah, he winds up waiting on these people.
Yeah, and he's totally cool with it. He is totally, totally cool with it. So they punish you with aging. We meet the renegades, who are just all crazy old people.
Yes. I love them, though.
And then we meet the idle apathetics, who are literally just people who stand in one place, doing nothing.
Yes. They really literally do nothing the entire... There's no point of them existing in this world.
To the point of where when Zed goes and tries to rape one, she literally, like, doesn't react. She doesn't move, and it's not fun for him, so he just kind of throws her away.
It's not fun. She's not screaming. I'm not having a good time.
Yeah. And then we go to boner class.
Yes.
I mean, there's no other way to describe it.
It's all these women, and I don't even know if there's men there, but they basically try and do things to get him to get an erection.
Yeah. I assume he's standing there nude in the room. And it is all women in there. Yeah. And they're showing him various, like, shower boobs and mud wrestling. Oh, no, there are men, because Friend is there.
Yes.
And when Zed gets an erection looking at Consuela, Friend makes a big deal of it.
Uh-huh.
So here's where we also learn that Eternals... So the Eternals are like the bored teenagers. They are called that because they literally cannot die. Mm-hmm. We find out they can't get hard.
So stupid.
They can't get hard. They don't sleep. But they do something called second level meditation.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah. Whatever it was, Friend didn't want to do it, but they never actually explain what it is. So, then we go to a weird scene out of nowhere where May is talking to Zed and telling him he's physically and mentally superior to them and must be destroyed.
Yes.
But then it seems like Arthur Frayne is talking through Zed, but I don't...
Is that what happened there?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
The movie, like, it makes no sense, this scene.
She asked if you can unknow things, right? And
yeah.
And then she decides that she's going to keep him alive if... This is Consuela.
Yeah.
Says that she's going to keep him alive if he does what she says.
Yeah. So then they vote... no, it was May. It was May who was...
it was May who did it?
Yeah. It was May who did it. And then we go to the dinner or breakfast or whatever the fuck it is. And and Consuela doesn't want him there. And then decides that they should kill him, and they take a vote not to kill him. And then Friend suddenly doesn't want to do second-level meditation, and they randomly cast him out and age him.
With spirit fingers.
Yes.
And jazz hands.
Yes. It's literally them doing jazz hands at him, and him aging.
Yes. It's so fucking stupid. I was like, I can never enjoy jazz hands in a musical ever again.
From now on, they are Zardoz hands.
Zardoz
hands. Zardoz. You can't see it, but we're doing them.
We're doing it.
And like they make noises like that, and like it's
yes. It's really fucking stupid.
Like I that's the thing. Like, it's so hard to analyze this movie because
nothing happens.
Like, so much stuff happens that nothing happens. Like, so now Zed is trying to get the fuck out of Dodge, but there's an invisible force field, but the invisible force field just makes him look like a mime. Like, because he's just doing the hand mime thing on a wall. And then all the old people try to kill Zed. And, like, and so it's like Attack of the Elderly. And then Friend wants to end the human race. And then there's an inspiring speech about fighting for death.
Oh my god, the stupid fucking movie.
And then we discover the guy who found immortality is super old and, like, infirmed. And then,
but not dying.
Yeah, and then May is a sheet ghost. And, like, I am just literally telling you things that happened right now. None of these things can be analyzed because
they just happen.
The next scene is something absolutely, completely different that has nothing to do with the scene before it.
I hate this fucking movie. I'm so miserable right now.
Yeah. So, he's trying to find the tabernacle, which I don't remember them mentioning, but somehow the tabernacle is an important thing.
And all of a sudden it becomes the most important thing.
Yeah, so he goes under a sheet with May, and...
for no reason.
Yeah.
Why are they under a sheet?
Yeah, and, you know, and it's not just May, everyone's under a sheet for just no reason. Everyone's just kind of standing around like they're ghosts in like Scooby-Doo or something. And
I wish Scooby-Doo was in this.
You know.
Then there'd be something to analyze.
Yeah. And so, you know, she's asking Zed why did he come there? And he gives his backstory where apparently he lost his innocence. He was playing hide and seek in a library with somebody. I mean, well, he was trying to kill them, but really, if you watch the movie, he's playing fucking hide and seek.
It was hide and seek.
And that person gave him a floating book that somehow taught him how to read, which I'm not quite sure how that works.
Nope.
Because you kind of need someone else to explain to you what the words mean. I could look at a textbook in Spanish like for the rest of my life, it would not teach me Spanish. You know, I could pretend that the words meant things, but that would not mean that that's actually what the words mean.
It's so stupid.
So somehow he learns to read from this singular book, and then reads every book. And then there's a book he can't remember that it blows his mind. And then Zardoz orders them to start farming with slaves. And then
get slaves to cultivate wheat, but they don't even need wheat.
Yeah, well, the wheat is for the idle apathetics.
See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Friend explains that at one point.
I was not listening.
Yeah, Friend explains that at one point that the idle apathetics can't really take care of themselves, so the slave farming is for them.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, he discovers that there's a book. So, okay, there's a book that, like, how to say this?
We're so exhausted.
How to say
having
this?
To go over this.
So in a regular movie, if there was a book that he couldn't remember the title of, it would be a big mystery for most of the film. Zardoz will introduce a mystery, and then a minute and a half later, we'll solve it.
Yep.
And, like, it reminds me of when I see those, like, you know, those pitch meeting videos, and it's like, you know, oh my god, that sounds really hard. How can he get out of that? Oh, that's going to be really hard for him to get out of it. Actually, it's going to be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. You know? And, like, so, the book he can't remember, he is then told to think about it harder, and he immediately remembers it, and there's no more mystery. The book is The Wizard of Oz, or The Wizard of Oz. Like, so if you take...
It's Zardoz,
yes,
somehow.
If you take W-I and O-F out of Wizard of Oz, you get Zardoz.
So fucking stupid. How come Frank L. Baum didn't just like, I mean, he's probably dead. I don't know if he was dead in the 70s, but how did the writers of The Wizard of Oz not be like, I'm not cool with this?
So, May and him start making out, and then Consuela doesn't like it and calls it bestiality, and then there's a weird tug of war with a sheet.
For no reason.
Yeah. And then Zed is blinded by Consuela's exposed boobs.
He gets blinded by her boobs.
So then the question becomes, oh no, Zed is blind. Man, that's really gonna, that's gonna be a big obstacle for our protagonist to get past. However, is he, it's probably gonna take the whole movie for him to get past this. It's gonna be super hard, right? Nope. It's gonna be, super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Because he is cured the very next scene.
Yes, he is. But he spends his blind scene. It's very entertaining. He wants to be in a musical and do jazz hands so bad because all he does is just, like, circle around in a little dance motion in one circle, like, touching things.
Yeah.
While he's blind. And then he's cured!
Yeah, he is cured literally the next scene by a character whose name I don't know.
I don't know.
There's another character, I don't know her name. She now becomes important in the movie, but I don't recall anyone ever saying her name.
No, I don't think anyone ever. I call her Titty Lady.
Yeah, she doesn't own a shirt. She has armpit hair and doesn't own a shirt. But she also has one of the weird biblical head thingies that all the other Eternals have. So she puts stuff in his eyes that makes him feel better. And tells him that everyone apparently wants to die, and she gives him a leaf to eat when the need arises. Can you guess how quickly he's going to eat that leaf?
In the next scene!
Yeah, it's not even going to be, like, later, like, that's the thing. This movie will be like, alright, here's a mystery. Alright, well, let's solve that next scene. Like, I just...
Yeah, and he makes an agreement with her, right? And says that she'll do something. He helped her and gives her, and she gives him this, and it's he just sets her free when the time comes.
Yeah. So, we find out that the Eternals are the rich and the intellectuals, and they evolved to become the Eternals, and they kept the poor, super Irish-looking people out.
But they are just isolated from them by very short hedges.
Yes.
That they could leap over at any time. There is no force field that we know of.
There was a force field earlier, but now there isn't a force field, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But, the Eternals now all want him dead for whatever reason, and they start banging on the plastic he's on. And he throws flour at them, and they act as though he just sprayed them in the face with acid.
Mm-hmm.
And now Consuela is hunting him on horseback for whatever reason.
I do love all the horses. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Horses. I'm sorry that these people are on you and you have to be in this film.
And so he goes and where the apathetics are, and but somehow he's able to hide from psychic teenagers who can read his mind, because they somehow can't read his mind when he's hiding from them.
No, exactly.
So Consuela decides to just start burning places down. And the apathetics decide they're going to lick Zed's sweat.
Yes.
And now the apathetics start kissing each other. And they say, we take life from you. And they all start touching Zed. And Zed looks at them like they have cooties while they all start moaning sexually. And the sexual moaning attracts Consuela. And then he eats the leaf that he got in the last scene.
So easy.
Yep. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. So... And then there's, like, a weird cut to night. And now the renegades are hunting him. And the apathetics are fucking. And they put Sean Connery in her wedding dress.
I loved that. That was my favorite outfit of the whole thing.
Orgies are randomly breaking out. May wants Zed now to fuck all her friends. And they will teach him history. Like, like People, I'm just describing the fucking movie. This is how it goes. Like, they will fuck him, but they will teach him while fucking him, and he will learn everything. He will learn through osmosis, which is not how learning works.
Osmosis shit cracked me up.
And Beethoven's Seventh Symphony plays as a Paradise Lost quote plays, so I guess that means he's going to Brooklyn to go and move in with the cast of The Sentinel. You know what? He becomes blind too. Wouldn't that have been great if the movie just ended with him becoming fucking Father Halloran?
That'd be great. I would love that. I would watch the movie. That's what.
You just learned that even though this takes place in 2293 and The Sentinel took place in 1977, somehow this is a prequel to The Sentinel.
Yes.
It would make about as much sense as the rest of this fucking movie makes if that's how it was to fucking end. But no, at this point we have about 45 minutes left in the story. And friend is telling him they went to space, but didn't go to space, and they got bored, but it was 200 years, and like I'm
not even listening to you at this point.
Oh my god. And then the inventors of Tabernacle erased all their memories of its construction.
So they can't deconstruct it.
Yeah. And
for some reason.
Zed now is randomly shooting while yelling "kill the Tabernacle."
Do you want to just give up now? We can just give up.
No, we have to do this for our audience, but everyone suddenly has a crystal in their head. And I'm just describing the movie at this point. Like, I'm not even, like, he gets a big crystal, and now he's hanging out at Madame Toussaint. And, like, because that's what it looked like. And then Arthur Frayne is suddenly alive, and he's wearing a top hat.
He shows up in, like, a room of statues for no reason.
Yeah, and Consuela attacks him, but now, suddenly...
Plot twist.
Suddenly Consuela's in love with him.
Yes.
And
this is where I throw a beer can.
Yeah. Like, so, she's been hunting him. The whole movie, she's been talking shit. She got really angry when he got a boner.
She tries to kill him.
She's been trying to kill him.
She burns the town down.
And then she's been burning places down to reach him. She has an angry mob. And then, she's just suddenly in love with him.
Yep.
And they're cool with each other. And she puts a ring on his finger, which made me think, did she just marry him or something?
Is that how it works in Vortex 4?
Yeah. And then she tells, you should tell them where we are, because I haven't mentioned Vortex at any point, just so they clear up what Vortex 4 is.
Oh, well, there are vortexes, and we're in the fourth one. That's all I gathered from that.
So, Tabernacle, it turns out, is a diamond, and they store data through refracted light, and you can use diamonds as infinite sources, as infinite storage units, which would make it the most expensive fucking flash drive ever.
Yes.
And Tabernacle is God, but now Zed is in the diamond
somehow.
And now I imagine that John Boorman just kind of left the room for a little bit, and a Quebecois came in and just rewrote the dialogue, because now it's him saying, like, Tabernacle for, like, fucking 20 times is the only dialogue while he walks through a fun house. And then there's, like, a weird interpretive dance of all the lead characters.
Yep.
And I think one of them might be Tina Fey for some reason, because there's a character who certainly looks like Tina Fey, who I've seen in the movie. Even though Tina Fey was probably, like, a fetus when this movie was done.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It's from the future, so maybe they got old footage of Tina Fey before she was born, because in the future, the past just occurred.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. God, throw in logic.
So, it makes about as much logic as this movie, Chelsea. Like, literally, people, I can tell you, if I was to suddenly start talking about a completely different movie in the next sentence, it would be like how Zardoz works. Like if Chelsea and I just randomly, without telling you we're going to switch movies, just suddenly started reviewing a completely different movie.
That is Zardoz.
That is how Zardoz works. So Zed now shoots himself in the mirror, and the mirror starts bleeding, and the Eternals now are fucking up statues, and Zed is
sorry.
Zed is catatonic.
Yes.
And then Consuela, who now loves him, wakes him up with a kiss quicker than like Sleeping Beauty, because apparently Zed is now Sleeping Beauty. And now Zed is able to make time go in reverse, and fix the statues.
And fix everything, yes.
And he gives the diamond to the original Tabernacle creator. And the statue of Zardoz falls out of the sky, and the creator says that nature made Zed to destroy the Eternals. And we find out that Arthur Frayne selectively bred Zed. And the head of Zardoz falls from the sky. May and her 50 friends, who I assume are now pregnant, all head east.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly everybody is saying yes to death. And Brutals come in and start shooting everybody.
Yeah, the Brutals come out of nowhere and kill everybody. And Zed uses his promise where he will biblical titty lady, and she's in a fountain singing for no reason, and there are jazz hands, and he shoots her, which is like taking care of her when the time comes.
Oh no, he doesn't even shoot her. He bricks the gun out, but he's like, I'm a different man now.
Oh, I thought he shot her. I thought he like...
No, it was the Brutals who shot her.
Oh,
it was his buddies who shot her.
Well, so she dies.
They start shooting everybody, and Zed and Consuela run off to raise a cave family.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all sit in one place, and they die, and then the movie's over.
Thank God.
That is, like... So, it really just sounded like I had a stroke or something, and I was just reading random sentences or whatever. But no, those were actually things that happened in Zardoz.
Don't watch it.
I had forgotten how bad this fucking movie was.
This. This is your fault.
I blame our audience. They're all bastards. They're the ones who told me that we should do Zardoz. I blame each and every one of you.
Mm-hmm.
A curse on all of you.
We're going to unleash Zardoz on you.
Yes. No, we're going to... But don't worry, though. It'll be solved in the very next scene.
In the very next scene.
So, where to even begin? The question I ask every time, Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
How, outside of not making it...
Oh, damn it. That was going to be my answer.
How could Zardoz be a better film?
By making it an entirely different movie? That is my answer.
I would say you'd have to re-edit it from scratch and completely redo it so that there's actual consequences.
And that things aren't solved in the next scene.
Yeah. Like, there's no tension in anything because you know things are going to be... In fact, if anything, it feels like there's like 100 minutes of deleted scenes.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
Yeah, are you putting a contact in?
No, sorry. I just stuck my finger in my eye to get an eye booger, and my hand is covered in hand sanitizer, so it stings really bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't see it, but Chelsea looks like she's crying right now.
I am crying. I got hand sanitizer in my eye.
Oh, Lord. But, yeah, you know who I blame for that?
Zardoz?
Yes, I blame Zardoz. I blame Arthur Frayne. Arthur Frayne brought this on us all.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so,
Don't watch this movie. Just save yourself the time. Save yourself the beer. And watch something that you enjoy.
Like, I'm trying to think. How... I guess the first thing you can do is to not be Okay, so here's the deal. Zardoz is a bad movie that is convinced it's an important movie.
Yes. It's just very
And
masturbatory the entire way through.
It's super pretentious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for one, get rid of the bad pseudo-Shakespeare intro.
Yes, definitely.
Like, for two, I don't think we need 40 minutes of farming.
No.
That could have been a fucking montage of him helping them out. There could have been, it needs, number one, the editing is so fucking self-indulgent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a 2.5 hour movie.
It was so long.
Yeah, it's like 2.5 hours. And
can I just forget this ever happened?
Chelsea, we have a responsibility to our people to go and explain.
They did that. You did this.
If we were to just be like, see, here's the difference between us and John Boorman, Chelsea. We have actual cause and effect. We will tell people how to make Zardoz a better movie. John Boorman would just go, Chelsea, how do you make this a better movie? And then it would suddenly be a better movie.
Yes. That's exactly right.
That is how Zardoz would do it. There would be no explanation. It would just suddenly be, and now Zardoz is like the best movie ever.
Yeah.
Here, yes, just magically, it would be better. That is one of the biggest problems in the movie. There are no consequences. There are no reasons. There is no cause and effect. I don't know if John Boorman meant it to be metaphorical or whatever, but
whatever he meant to do, he failed.
Yeah, this is just a giant disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the story behind Zardoz is that John Boorman wanted to do Lord of the Rings, but they didn't want to give him the budget to do it. So he decided he would create his own special world.
Yes.
And it would be Zardoz. But it's not a good world.
No, it's horrible.
It's really not a good world. And I wondered if he made any sort of Bible, and when I say Bible, it's a filmmaking term. It's basically the rules for your world. So there are no really rules. There's no consistency. Characters act one way. It is basically like the American Horror Story Coven method of storytelling. Where shit just happens.
Mm-hmm.
For no reason, and character motivation and character traits depend on whatever you want the next scene to be.
It's fucking stupid. Don't waste your time.
Yeah, it's... and yet, I still feel... I feel like with a radical restructuring, you could make a good movie out of the concept.
Out of the concept, yes, I will agree with that.
Every single thing would have to be changed.
Yes.
Except maybe you could still have Zardoz as a still floating head that ejaculates guns, but otherwise, all the details have to be fucking changed.
Yes.
Because it's a car wreck. It's
a pileup. It's bad. So that's Zardoz.
Oh my god. Sometimes you look at a movie and you're like, well, that certainly has a beginning, middle, and an ending.
Not Zardoz.
Yeah, no, I don't think Zardoz really does.
Mm-mm.
Zardoz just kind of had a beginning, and then it had stuff.
It had a stuff.
And then it was over.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Lost for words here, kids. Lost for words.
So that's Zardoz.
yeah, that was Zardoz. All I can think about is how Arthur Frayne manipulated Zed's bloodline in order to make a character who would raise enough hell that he would go and finally kill the Eternals. Which reminds me of our next movie, because we are on a fucking express elevator heading down to the shittier and shittier movies. So the next one's going to be the time where a franchise that I absolutely loved turned to shit. And it didn't have to be this way. It didn't have to be the disaster it was. But just like Arthur Frayne manipulated Zed's fucking bloodline so he could raise hell, our next movie will be Hellraiser Bloodline. Which is even more disappointing if you're a fan of the Hellraiser series, which I know Chelsea and I are. So, we're going to strap ourselves in. We're going to get ready to watch the moment that the Hellraiser franchise fucking died. And try to deal with that. So, this is a bit of a downer of an episode, because you did this to us. You did this.